is Delorme and Watkins training system. Hi, I'm Hayley from Parallel Coaching, and in this video we're going to explore training systems, in particular the Delorme and Watkins training system, also known as D&W. We're going to explore the protocol and also the benefits of you using this particular training system as a FITPRO. But before we get started, make sure that you click the link that is with this video so that you can find the mock questions that will test your knowledge, and also click subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already so you can get notifications of more videos just like this. Now, Delorme and Watkins is a training system. A training system is basically a group of variables, a group of sets, reps, tempo, time that has structure and rules. And then by following these structure and rules, you get a specific outcome. And that's why these training systems exist. But as part of your level 3 personal trainer, you need to understand 16 different cardiovascular training systems, 17 different resistance training systems, and then one of those 17 is Delorme and Watkins. So it's going to be a resistance training system that we're talking about today. This set of variables that exist for a particular outcome. Now, the outcome we're looking at with Delorme and Watkins is actually about understanding intensity. Delorme and Watkins has a protocol whereby it has at least 3 sets, but it's aiming towards overload, in the fact it's aiming towards a repetition maximum. But it takes 3 sets to get there. So the first set isn't quite at overload, it's about halfway there. The second set isn't really at overload, it's about 3/4 of the way there. And the third set is now full overload. So it's actually a very interesting type of training system compared to, say, a superset or a tri-set or a multiple set, whereby you go to overload on every single set that you do. This means that it lends itself towards beginners. You'll probably find Delorme and Watkins is used most for beginner clients because out of every 3 sets they do, only 1 set actually goes to overload. This makes it really useful for you in the early stages of your periodization when you're setting this up as a fitness professional, but it also means that you might use it for testing protocols and being able to understand really what your client is able to do without putting them through lots of very hard sets. You could also do this as part of a specific warm-up that you have planned for your client to get them ready for the main session. Or it could be like a fact-find session whereby you're working out what your client can do as their rough 10 rep max, for example, on their leg press, on their chest press, on their row, and have a battery of exercises. However you choose to use Delorme and Watkins, the protocol stays the same because that's that particular training system. If not, you'll be doing a different training system. But the protocol stays the same, but the choice of how you use it can vary massively. Also, it was originally designed to become a repetition maximum test, which means it would test what somebody's 10 RM, so the maximum they can lift for 10 reps, or their 12 RM, etc. So it will do as a repetition maximum test. But it's actually not only used as that, and using it amongst your client programming in general is actually very powerful. So before we kind of understand more about the Delorme and Watkins protocol, I want to really understand and teach you about what repetition maximum means. And it's something I'm going to use a lot. And this is often written as RM, so repetition maximum. Now, repetition maximum means that you cannot do any more repetitions. So you basically have a desired number of reps that you're going to do within that set. So let's just say for your client's goal of hypertrophy, you're aiming for 10 reps. If you're aiming for repetition maximum, which would be 100% of their 10 RM, then this means that they literally cannot do any more than 10 reps. So they get through, they're like, I'll do repetition 7, 8 gets a little bit tougher, 9's quite tough, 10 is maximum, 11's a no-go. And then you know that they're literally achieving their repetition maximum. They can't do 9, they can't do 11, it's 10 repetition maximum. So you first of all have to pick the desired set repetition maximum. So are you choosing 10 RM for somebody's hypertrophy goal? Are you choosing 12 or 15 because they've got an endurance goal? Are they more after strength or power, in which case are you choosing lower repetition numbers like 1, 3, 5, something along those lines? But you first of all have to set that number relevant to the client's goal and also ability level. Once you've done that, it's about then finding when you get to the point of saying, I cannot do another repetition. That's your repetition maximum. And that's what we call overload. At that point, there's a good amount of small micro tears occurring inside the muscles, which means that they now need enough rest to be able to do another set, or they need to have a rest before they go on and do another exercise. But this then means with the right recovery in between sessions, they're then going to get the adaptation that you're after. So that's why repetition maximum is important. Now, the assumption is that in a repetition maximum, you do 100% of your desired 10 RM, for example, that I do 100%. I get to the point where I'm doing 10 reps at 100% of my 10 RM. That's maximum. But if I didn't quite do 100% intensity and I reduced the load, I could maybe call it 50% of my 10 RM for 10 reps. That means that I'm going to still do 10 reps, but I'm only going to have half of the load that I normally would if I was going to overload. So it's like half intensity. It's like a warm-up. And then same if I was choosing 75%. And these are the types of language that we need to understand as we're understanding Delorme and Watkins, especially if you're practicing Delorme and Watkins for yourself and then with clients. So let's have a look at the protocol. The protocol is essentially repetition maximum. We've got 3 sets. First of all, work out which rep range you want your client to work at. And don't give a range, give a specific repetition number. So I'm going to use 10 today because we've already been talking about 10 RMs. So the first set, you're going to take a guesstimate as to what your client needs to be able to do intensity-wise for 10 repetitions if they were to go to their full 100% 10 RM. And you're going to half it. So let's just say you set up your client on the leg press and you're like, I reckon they could do 100 kgs for 10 reps as a guess. And it has to be a guesstimate because they've never achieved that before. So we've got to start somewhere. So I guess that 100 kgs would be their full. So I'm going to put it on half of that for the first set. And I put it at 50 kgs. They do the 50 kgs, but they're going to now do 10 repetitions. So it should feel light. And that's the idea. It allows them to warm up, get used to the technique, and also to gauge whether that really is half intensity or not. You can then ask a lot of really good questions here. So once they finish their 10 reps, they're going to take 90 seconds rest. At that 90 seconds rest, you're asking good questions. You're asking how that felt. Do they feel they could probably do double that in load by the time we get to the third set? Do they feel like that was too easy, too hard? It should feel like a warm-up. Like, what types of questions do you need to ask to find out more information about the intensity and how the exercise felt? Then after that rest, you go into the second set, which you're going to do at an anticipated 75% of their 10 RM. Now, if you think you're on course, that's probably going to be 75 kg for our leg press that we're talking about. But if you think your client's maybe got a little bit more in the tank, that's the moment that you edge it up. Maybe you're going to 80 or 90 and you're thinking actually they'll get a little bit more out of that last set. So this is really another guesstimate, but a little bit more informed because they've already done one set. They do their 10 reps. This will feel more challenging, but still not overload. They've almost got 4 or 5 reps still left in the tank after they finish that set. Then they take their 90 seconds rest. You ask them those same great questions, and then they do their third set. Set number 3 is the 100% of their 10 RM for 10 reps, which on our leg press, if we've got our guesstimate right, is 100 kgs for 10 reps. But if we actually have started edging this up, we could now have edged that up a little bit more. We might have taken it down from our estimate, but this is our chance to be able to tweak it. And that's what the benefit of the Delorme and Watkins is. We don't go straight in and fail on the first set. We actually have a chance to be able to tweak the intensity on each one. And by tweaking the intensity, we get closer to the client's real 10 rep max. Now, at the end of this one, if it's not a real 10 rep max, whereby they're literally not getting overload on the 10th rep, then we need to rest for 90 seconds, tweak the weight, and go again. Now, this is really important because you might end up doing 4, 5, 6 sets of this, but then they're going to overload or pretty much overload for the last few sets, which is actually quite hard work and takes off the whole idea of Delorme and Watkins being sort of a partial intensity. So instead, what's best to do is to really take educated decisions. If you think your client is under guessing, make sure that you encourage them to go to a heavier load so that you actually get to that rep max on the 3rd or 4th set. And that's the idea. So that gives you an understanding of what Delorme and Watkins is. I definitely advise you do it early on in your periodization and programming with your clients, maybe as part of your second consultation where you're understanding what they can lift, how they move, and how this will inform your planning that you might do. As part of understanding all of these training systems that you need to know as part of your level 3 personal trainer and also beyond when you're then qualified, we have a program called Fit Progressions, and this explores all of those training systems, how to piece them together inside your periodization, how to understand the right consultations and testing you might do, and everything else in between. If you want to know more about Fit Progressions, then please do click the link to join us and find out much more. Outside of that, I would love to know what your big takeaway has been today about Delorme and Watkins and about everything we've been discussing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.